Alright, so today we're going to talk about, in this recording, about multiplication and division, just some basic concepts of it. So, let's talk about multiplication first. So, let's look at some dots that I make right here. Alright, now if we count these dots, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 18 dots. Alright? But another way we can look at this is we can say that instead of having 18 dots, we can divide these 18 dots into groups. Alright, so what kind of groups do we have? Well, we have right here groups of 3, like this, right here, or we have groups of 6. So let's look at the groups of 3 first. So of one group of 3, two groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3, and then 6 groups of 3. Drew on those dots right there. So 6 groups of 3. So you could say that there's 18 dots, and 18 dots is equal to 6 groups of 3. And you could rewrite that as 6 times 3 equals 18. Okay? So let's look at that another way. Let's draw some more. Alright, let's count these now, these little circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Alright, so there's 18. Well, another way to look at that is we have groups of 2. We have one group of 2 and 2 groups of 2, and so on and so on. So in this case we have 18 equaling 9 groups of 2. Or you could rewrite that as 9 times 2 equals 18. And then another example, it would be this. Alright, again, if we count that, it's going to be 18. Well, we have 18, and we can look at it in the same fashion as before. And this time, we can say we have a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we have 2 of those groups. So you can say that 18 circles is equal to two groups of 9, or 9 times 2 equals 18. Okay? So that is basically the concept of multiplication. The basic multiplication is, you can think of it as groups. You have groups of 2, you have groups of 3, you have groups of 9. If we wanted to do another example, you could have groups of 6. And that would be, when you add all those groups together, you're going to get your total, which is 18 in each one of these cases. So let's erase that, and let's talk about division really quick. Put some dots on the board again. So here we are. All right, let's count those dots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's 4 groups. So that would be 4 groups of 6, which would equal 4 times 6 equals 24. Okay? We can verify that by counting each dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24 dots, or 24 circles, all right? And you could say it's groups of 6, or you could say it's groups of 4. But let's just say we didn't know what it was. Let's say we didn't know it was that 4 groups of 6 equaled 24, or 6 groups of 4 equaled 24. So let's say that we had just the 24. And we're trying to figure out the different types of groups that are in there. All right? So we are looking at it and we're saying, okay, so we have a number of 24 and we want to know how many groups of 6 are in there. So the way you would write that is you could do 24 divided by 6, like that. You could also do 24 divided by 6 like that, or you could do 24 divided by 6 like so. And all you're doing in this sense then is you can figure this out 2 different ways. You could do, if you didn't know that 6 times 4 equals 24, you would have to do trial and error. So you'd go, something like this: 6 times 2, and 6 times 3, and you could do 6 times 5, right? And so forth and so forth. And this would be 12, and this would be 18, and this would be 30. That's too big. So then you go, okay, 6 times 4 then, and that's going to equal 24. Okay. And then you could put the 4 on top like that, and do this, and those would cancel each other out, and you know that you're there because there's no remainder. Okay, that's one way of doing it. And another way of doing that is just like we did with when we counted the dots and we're doing multiplication. You're basically adding each group. So you have a group of 6 here, and 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 when you add this group to this group to this group to this group, it would be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 24. You can do the exact reverse. So you could do 24 and you could minus 6. And that's going to equal 18. And then you minus 6 again, that's going to equal 12. And then you minus 6 again, and that's going to equal 6. And then you minus 6 again, and that's going to equal 0. And then what you do is you count up all the times you minus 6. Okay? And that is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives you the same answer as before. So that's another way you can divide. You can just minus the number of groupings that you have. So you have a grouping of 6, and you minus that how many ever times it takes to get down to 0. Or if you had something like 26, when you minus 6 there, it's gonna be 20, and you minus 6 again, it's gonna be 14, minus 6 again, and that's going to be 8, minus 6 again, and that's going to be 2. But you can't minus 6. You can't do another minus 6, or you get a negative number. So you count those up again. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 6, and then you have a remainder of 2. And that's basically the concept of the real basic, easy concept of division and multiplication. Multiplication, when you're dealing with just whole numbers, when you're not dealing with fractions, you're just dealing with you're not dealing with decimals, you're not dealing with different types of numbers, you're dealing with just whole numbers. What you're doing is you're just plussing or adding the groups, and then when you're dividing, you're just minusing the groups. And that's pretty much it when it comes to multiplication and division for a beginner.